You mentioned the rotations. Who has the better rotation now in New York?
Oh,
Mets or Yankees? Because they're both pretty solid.
I think that answer is the Mets.
Yeah.
But I do think it's closer than people would assume. The Mets rotation, obviously, I would take Justin and Max over Garrett and Rodon.
Well, if you didn't pick family, you might be in
But
some
if I
trouble.
didn't pick family,
Yeah.
But I would.
Okay.
But that's no discredit to Garrett and Rodon. I just think Justin and Max are Hall of Famers pitching like two Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Garrett could be one day, and I don't think Rodon's on that level yet. I just would take those two. But you look at Kodai Senga, right, who the Mets have as their now 3 guy in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Question marks, right? Obviously, from anybody coming over from Japan. It's a different game. The baseball is different. How will he adapt to America? Then how will he adapt to New York City? He's getting thrown into a gauntlet. How will that be? It's a question mark, but the guy throws 100 with a forkball nicknamed the Ghost because it's so nasty. And I think the Ghost will be dominant. And then signing Quintana, having Carrasco, I would take the Mets rotation over the Yankees, but I do think the Yankees rotation deserves more credit. What do you got?
I'm with you, too. I would take the Mets. Now, we had a photo up here. It had both of the rotations. Can we get that back up? Had both of the rotations up here. And if you just even look at their jerseys, okay? Yankees, you add one new guy, right? Mets went for a whole new, center of the rotation here.
Yeah.
They went all in. Yes, it's going to take Senga probably spring training. It will be tough because I remember Shohei Ohtani talking about just how the adjustment period was in spring training. As you mentioned, the ball, just getting used to being in the United States.
Can't imagine.
It's insane. It's hard to fully comprehend what it's like coming from a different country with a different language and everything like that. So I definitely think there'll be a learning curve. But he's got some great veterans on his side, including your brother, obviously Scherzer. Mets are going to be a scary, scary team to face.
I think when this question is presented, my mind goes to, look, it's about winning, and it's about winning in the playoffs as well. And like I said earlier, I think Nestor is a stud and a good arm, but I don't know if he's that guy to turn to in a playoff series. You know, like Severino has that nasty playoff stuff. Nestor doesn't have 100 miles an hour with a 92 mile an hour slider, and that's what plays in a playoffs. But I want to mention one thing you said about Senga and coming over to the United States. I got just a very small taste of this when I went over to Japan.
Yeah.
And I went with a translator.
Yeah.
And it's when I was not with a translator.
Scary.
It is.
Yeah.
It's scary. You can't there is no communicating. There is no reading because it's not letters, right?
No.
I can't read anything put down. Nobody can talk to me. Not a ton of people speak my language, and that will be the case with Kodai. Not a lot of people are going to speak his language over here. He'll obviously have a translator and somebody that will be with him the majority of the time, but I gained so much respect while I was over there for Shohei, for what he was able to do coming to the United States and being on his own with no friends and basically just Ippei for still, it's crazy.
Oh, it's nuts. I spent 6 weeks in China covering the World University Games back in 2011, and same thing. So we had a full-time interpreter with us. And when they're not with you and you're trying to communicate with someone, you're hearing all these other conversations around you in a different language. There's no cheat sheet on how to understand the language or read anything if you didn't study it before or have someone with you. I mean, you're vulnerable. You can feel isolated. You can feel lost. It can be scary at times. So it takes a lot of bravery, courage, confidence, all the above. You're playing an entire game. I mean, the game, and that baseball has its own language,
right? Obviously.
But it's
basically
learning curve's going to be huge.
Yeah. So if he comes over and isn't great for the first couple months, give him some slack because it's going to be crazy. But He's still nasty and a number 3 starter in a rotation. I would take the Mets rotation over the Yankees, but it is closer than most people think.
Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.